What if the key to strength after 60 isn't exercise but timing and one forgotten food? Discover the overlooked reason most seniors lose muscle and how to reverse it naturally. The food that beats whey, soy, and even eggs for rebuilding aging muscles revealed inside. What if I told you that a single food, a food most seniors overlook, could actually reverse muscle loss even at age 75? Now, that might sound like a bold claim, but here's the surprising truth. Sarcopenia, or age muscle loss, is not just part of getting older. It's a metabolic condition. And like most metabolic conditions, it's preventable and often reversible. If you're over 60 and noticing weaker legs, more difficulty getting out of a chair, or even changes in posture and balance, these are red flags, but they're not the problem. They're the symptom. The deeper issue lies in what's happening inside your metabolism. Here's what's really going on inside your body. As we age, muscle tissue becomes harder to maintain. Not because of age alone, but because of hormonal shifts, poor protein absorption, chronic inflammation, insulin resistance, and something almost no one talks about: anabolic resistance. Anabolic resistance means your body becomes less responsive to the very signals that tell it to build and maintain muscle. And unless you know how to flip that switch back on, your body defaults to breaking muscle down. Now, here's the good news. Certain foods have been shown to directly stimulate muscle protein synthesis in older adults, even in those over 75. And there's one food in particular that does it faster, more effectively, and more consistently than almost anything else. In today's video, we're going to dive deep into the science of muscle preservation and how one powerful food can literally help rebuild strength, energy, and independence. Well, we'll look at why muscle loss accelerates after age 50 and how to stop it at the root, what anabolic resistance really means and how to reverse it naturally, how certain amino acids act like keys unlocking muscle growth even in older adults, the one food that outperforms whey, soy, and even eggs in reversing sarcopenia, how to eat it, when to eat it, and what to pair it with for maximum benefit, and simple protocols that can transform your leg strength in just weeks, even if you've been sedentary for years. Because here's the thing, muscle isn't just about looking toned or lifting weights. It's your metabolism, it's your immune function, it's your glucose regulation, and it's your independence. If this is helpful so far, consider subscribing. I post videos like this every day to help you take control of your health naturally. So, let's get started. First, I'll break down the 6 key science-backed insights you need to understand in order to turn back the clock on muscle loss and regain strength, mobility, and energy at any age. But if you're over 60 and feel like your muscles are shrinking, no matter what you eat or how active you are, you're not imagining it. But it's not just old age. What's really going on inside your body is something called anabolic resistance. It's a condition where your muscle tissue becomes less responsive to the very signals that normally trigger growth and repair. Let me explain this with a simple analogy. Imagine your muscles are like a dry sponge. In youth, every time you eat, protein, or workout, it's like pouring water on that sponge and it absorbs it immediately. That water represents muscle-building signals like amino acids and hormones. But with age, especially after 60, that sponge becomes stiff. Now when you pour water on it, it just rolls off. Your body is still getting the protein, but the muscles are no longer absorbing the signal. That's anabolic resistance. So why does this happen? One major reason is the loss of mitochondrial efficiency and hormonal sensitivity. As we age, muscle cells need a signal from nutrients, especially essential amino acids like leucine, to activate something called mTOR, a mechanistic target of rapamine, a key pathway that triggers muscle growth. In youth, a small amount of protein can flip that switch, but in older adults, the threshold is much higher. You need more of the right amino acids in the right form to get the same effect. Another key issue is low-grade chronic inflammation. As we age, inflammation subtly increases, often due to insulin resistance, poor gut health, and liver congestion. This silent fire blunts your body's ability to repair tissue, especially muscle. So instead of rebuilding, your body enters a slow, consistent breakdown state called catabolism. The result: shrinking quads, weaker grip strength, slower walking speed, but the deeper cost is metabolic. Your blood sugar goes up, fat storage increases, and energy tanks. Now, here's the hopeful part. Anabolic resistance is not permanent. You can reverse it, but you need a strategic approach. Let's look at the key things that reverse anabolic resistance. High leucine foods. Leucine is the spark plug of muscle growth. Research shows that older adults need about 2.5 to 3 g of leucine per meal to activate muscle protein synthesis. We'll explore the best source in the next section. Meal timing and distribution. Instead of grazing all day, older adults benefit from protein pulses, that is larger, well-spaced meals that deliver a full dose of amino acids. Small amounts spread out over the day often fail to activate muscle pathways. Improving insulin sensitivity. The more insulin resistant you are, the harder it is to shuttle nutrients into muscle. Intermittent fasting, walking after meals, apple cider vinegar, and chromium can all support insulin sensitivity. Resistance stimulus. Even light body weight movement like squats, step-ups, or band pulls can re-sensitize muscle tissue. This primes the sponge to absorb again. But what the research shows is that combining leucine-rich protein with light activity and strategic timing can restore the muscle-building response in seniors even in their 70s and 80s. In fact, a 2020 meta-analysis published in Nutrition found that dietary protein interventions with optimized leucine content significantly improved muscle mass, strength, and functional performance in older adults, especially when combined with minimal physical activity. So, the next time someone says you're just getting older, remember this is not about age, it's about signaling. And the good news is you can control those signals with the right inputs. In the next section, I'll reveal the exact food that delivers one of the most potent leucine profiles and outperforms whey, soy, and even eggs in reversing muscle loss in older adults. But before we move on, if you're getting value from this so far, go ahead and give the video a thumbs up. It tells the algorithm this content matters and helps more people like you find real solutions to stay strong and age pain-free. When most people think of muscle growth, they immediately think of testosterone. And yes, testosterone plays a role. But for seniors, there's a more powerful, more overlooked factor that determines whether your muscles grow or shrink. It's insulin sensitivity. Let me break this down. Insulin's job is to act like a key, unlocking your cells so that nutrients like glucose and amino acids can enter. When your muscles are insulin sensitive, they act like open doors, easily absorbing the fuel and raw materials they need to grow and function. But when you become insulin resistant, which most people do gradually after age 40, those doors start to jam shut. Nutrients float around in the bloodstream instead of being absorbed. Blood sugar rises, fat storage increases, and your muscles slowly starve, even if you're eating well. Here's what's really happening inside your body. Insulin is trying to shuttle amino acids from your food into your muscle cells. But because of insulin resistance, often caused by years of refined carbs, snacking, stress, and lack of movement, your muscles no longer hear the signal. So even though you're eating adequate protein, your body can't use it effectively. This is why insulin resistance is at the very root of sarcopenia, and why simply eating more protein or taking supplements often doesn't work for seniors. The delivery system is broken. Now, let me give you a simple analogy. Imagine you're trying to send building supplies to a construction site. Bricks, wood, nails, but the delivery truck has a broken engine. That truck is insulin no matter how many supplies you have. If the truck doesn't work, nothing gets delivered. The workers, your muscle cells, sit idle. So, how do we fix the truck? You restore insulin sensitivity. And the beauty of this is you don't need medications. You just need the right lifestyle signals. Here are 4 proven ways to improve insulin sensitivity and boost muscle building. Intermittent fasting, 14 to 16 hours. Fasting helps your insulin levels drop, allowing cells to reset and become more responsive. Even just compressing your eating window can dramatically improve nutrient partitioning, meaning more of what you eat goes to muscle, not fat. Walking after meals. Just 10 to 15 minutes of movement after eating can significantly reduce post-meal blood sugar and improve insulin action. This is crucial for seniors as it activates muscle glucose transporters, even without intense exercise. Sleep optimization. Poor sleep increases cortisol and reduces insulin sensitivity. Aim for 7 to 8 hours of consistent dark room sleep to support hormonal balance. Magnesium glycinate and tart cherry juice before bed may help. Cinnamon, chromium, and apple cider vinegar. These natural compounds have been shown to enhance insulin sensitivity. Try 1 to 2 teaspoons of ACV in water before meals and consider a high-quality chromium supplement if blood sugar is an issue. Let me share one quick study. In a 2019 paper published in the Journal of Clinical Endocrinology and Metabolic. If you haven't yet, hit subscribe. This channel exists to help you reclaim strength and vitality without prescriptions, gimmicks, or confusion. Let's move on to the food that's outperforming whey, eggs and soy for reversing muscle loss in seniors. Now that we've laid the groundwork with anabolic resistance and insulin sensitivity, it's time to talk about the single most important amino acid for reversing muscle loss, especially in older adults. It's called leucine. Think of leucine like the spark plug in an engine. You can have all the fuel, protein, calories, even exercise, but without that spark, the engine doesn't turn over. In your body, that engine is muscle protein synthesis, the process of building and repairing muscle tissue. What the research shows is this. Leucine is the amino acid that flips the switch on mTOR, the key cellular pathway that tells your body, build muscle. Now in younger adults, it only takes a small amount of leucine to activate this pathway. But after age 60, something shifts. Your threshold goes up. Your body becomes less sensitive to the leucine signal. That's part of anabolic resistance. And this is why many seniors can eat what seems like enough protein yet continue to lose strength and muscle mass. The leucine dose isn't high enough per meal to flip the mTOR switch. So, what's the magic number? According to studies, older adults need 2.5 to 3 g of leucine per meal to effectively stimulate muscle growth. But here's the catch. Most common protein sources don't contain enough leucine per typical serving. For example, one egg has only about 0.5 grams of leucine. 3/0 of chicken gives you about 2.1 grams. A scoop of whey may get you close. But many seniors don't tolerate dairy well. But there's one food that consistently delivers a high dose of leucine and supports better absorption even in those with digestive challenges. That food is grass-fed beef liver. Yes, liver. And let me explain why this is so powerful even though most people don't consider it a muscle-building food. Grass-fed beef liver delivers a full spectrum of amino acids, including a dense dose of leucine along with key coactors that support protein synthesis, vitamin B12, which fuels energy and supports red blood cell formation, crucial for oxygen delivery to muscle, iron, which supports mitochondrial energy production and reduces fatigue, zinc and copper, essential for tissue repair and hormonal balance, and choline, which supports liver function and fat metabolism, indirectly improving insulin sensitivity. In fact, just 3 to 4 ounces of beef liver delivers around 2.9 g of leucine, making it one of the most concentrated natural sources available. Now I know some people are turned off by the taste, but here's the solution. You don't have to eat it daily. Just once or twice a week can dramatically shift your amino acid and micronutrient profile. And if the taste is an issue, consider freeze-dried beef liver capsules from a high-quality grass-fed source. These preserve the nutrient density and offer a convenient alternative. One clinical study published in Nutrients in 2021 showed that older adults who consumed leucandric animal proteins, especially organ meats, had significantly greater muscle retention and grip strength than those relying on plant or dairy sources alone. If that's not practical proof, I don't know what is. And remember, liver doesn't just feed your muscles, it feeds your metabolism. It supports your liver function, detox pathways, and mitochondrial energy production, all of which feed back into muscle preservation. Here's a simple protocol to get started. Eat 3 to 4 oz of grass-fed beef liver 1 to 2 times per week. Pair it with a source of vitamin C like lemon juice or sauerkraut to enhance iron absorption. Avoid pairing it with high calcium foods at the same time, which can reduce mineral uptake. Stay hydrated and take it earlier in the day if you're new. 2 organ meats. Try this for just 3 weeks. Combine it with walking after meals and time-restricted eating, and you may be amazed at how quickly your legs feel stronger, your energy improves, and your metabolism becomes more resilient. And if you're finding this valuable, let me know in the comments or share it with someone who needs to know that strength can be regained even in your 70s. By now, you understand the metabolic triggers that reverse muscle loss: leucine, insulin, sensitivity, and high-quality protein like grass-fed liver. But here's something most people, even many nutritionists, overlook. When you eat, protein may be just as important as how much you eat. Let me explain. Your body is constantly balancing between 2 states, anabolism building up and catabolism breaking down. To build muscle, you need to spend more time in an anabolic state, especially after age 60, when muscle building becomes metabolically harder. Here's what's really going on. After about 3 to 5 hours without food, your body begins to shift into mild catabolism, breaking down tissue for energy. That's normal. But if you don't strategically time your protein intake, you'll miss the window when your muscles are most responsive to growth signals. Just let me use a simple analogy. Imagine your muscles are like a sponge that can only absorb water once or twice per day, but only if you pour the water at the right time. Pour it too late or too early and it just rolls off. That's how your muscles respond to protein as you age. In youth, the sponge is absorbent all the time. But after 60, the window narrows. The research shows that older adults require larger, more concentrated doses of protein spaced out strategically to stimulate muscle growth effectively. So, what's the best timing strategy? Here's what the science recommends. Front-load your protein. Most people eat very little protein at breakfast and stack it all at dinner. That's a mistake. Studies show that consuming a protein-rich breakfast with at least 30 grams of protein and 5 to 3 grams of leucine primes the body for an anabolic state throughout the day. Try this. Scrambled pasture-raised eggs, 3A grass-fed beef, liver or turkey sausage, 3O, and a few avocado slices and a side of sautéed spinach. Evenly distribute protein across 2 to 3 meals. Instead of grazing or nibbling, focus on 2 or 3 full meals spaced 4 to 6 hours apart. Each should contain at least 25 to 35 grams of protein with enough leucine to activate mTOR. For example, breakfast 30 grams protein a day, 30 to 40 g protein. A light dinner, 25 grams protein. This feeding pattern has been shown in multiple studies to be more effective at preserving lean mass than random unstructured eating. Avoid protein before bed. Contrary to some advice, late-night protein, especially from hard-to-digest sources, can impair deep sleep, slow digestion, and disrupt overnight repair. Instead, stop eating at least 2 to 3 hours before bed to allow melatonin to rise and growth hormone to do its work. Use your feeding window wisely. If you're practicing intermittent fasting, make sure your first meal breaks the fast with a powerful anabolic signal. That means plenty of protein, healthy fats, and minimal carbs. This boosts insulin sensitivity and activates muscle protein synthesis immediately. What does the research say? A 2022 randomized controlled trial in the American Journal of Clinical Nutrition found that seniors who consumed most of their protein earlier in the day with balanced leucine distribution had significantly better muscle protein synthesis and functional mobility after just 4 weeks compared to those who consumed the same amount of protein but unevenly spread. So the takeaway is this: when you eat matters. If you're eating high-quality protein but at the wrong time, you may still be missing out on muscle preservation. Try this protocol. First meal, 30 grams protein minimum, eggs plus liver plus greens. Second meal, 30 to 40 grams protein, grass-fed beef, salmon or lamb. Optional light third meal if needed, or just herbal tea to finish the day. Add walking after meals and 2 to 3 light resistance sessions per week, and you'll be amazed at how your muscles start responding again. Now that we've covered timing, let's close this out by looking at why reversing muscle loss is about more than strength. It's about protecting your brain metabolism and longevity. So far, we've focused on how to rebuild muscle, the food, the timing, the amino acids, and the hormonal landscape. But to fully appreciate why this matters, we need to step back and look at the bigger picture. Because muscle is not just for strength or mobility. It's not about lifting weights or looking toned. Muscle is metabolic gold. Let me explain. Your muscle tissue is the #1 site of glucose disposal in your entire body. That means when you eat carbs or protein, your muscles act like a sponge, pulling in that sugar and using it for energy instead of letting it linger in your bloodstream and spike insulin. More muscle equals better blood sugar regulation equals less insulin equals less fat storage. In fact, researchers now consider skeletal muscle an endocrine organ, meaning it releases its own hormones and signaling molecules called metabolics. These compounds help reduce inflammation, improve brain function, protect the heart, and even suppress tumor growth. Let me give you a real-world analogy. Think of your muscle like a metabolic engine. A large, efficient engine burns more fuel even at idle, meaning you burn more calories doing nothing, even while resting. A small, weak engine, it sputters, stalls, and wastes energy. Now, imagine you're 70 and you've lost 20 to 30% of your muscle mass since age 40. That's typical for many seniors, and it leads to lower metabolism, increased body fat, especially visceral fat. The blood sugar spikes, fatigue and brain fog, reduced mobility and independence. But when you rebuild that muscle, even just a few pounds, everything starts working better. A 2021 study published in the Journal of Sexual Sarcopenia Muscle found that even a 5% gain in lean mass in older adults significantly improved insulin sensitivity, reduced HbA1c levels, and enhanced mitochondrial function. More importantly, the risk of falls and fractures dropped dramatically. Muscle is your metabolic insurance policy. It protects your blood sugar, your bones, your brain, and your independence. And it goes even deeper. Did you know that muscle mass is one of the strongest predictors of longevity? In a large cohort study published in the American Journal of Medicine, researchers followed over 3,000 adults, AED 55 and older. They found that those with the lowest muscle mass had the highest all-cause mortality, even after adjusting for BMI and lifestyle factors. In other words, the scale may say your normal weight, but if you've lost muscle, you're still at risk. Now, here's the empowering truth. You can rebuild muscle at any age. Your body still has the machinery, the mTOR pathway, the amino acid sensors, the regenerative capacity. You just have to give it the right inputs. And when you do, everything changes. Energy improves, sleep deepens, blood sugar stabilizes, brain fog clears, mood and motivation return. That's not just physical strength, that's metabolic youth. So, as we head into the final section, I want you to remember this isn't about building biceps. It's about reclaiming your power, your metabolic power, so that every system in your body works with you, not against you. Now, I'll give you a simple action plan to get started. You don't need a gym. You don't need powders or potions. You need strategy, consistency, and one powerful food that most people ignore. Let's bring it all together. Muscle loss after age 60 isn't just inevitable. It's a biological feedback loop, a signal that your metabolism is struggling to keep up. But as we've seen, the root causes are often reversible, and the tools, natural, nutrient-dense, accessible. Let's recap the key insights. Anabolic resistance, not just aging, is the primary driver of muscle decline. Your muscles stop listening to growth signals unless you know how to restore that. Sensitivity. Insulin sensitivity plays a critical role in nutrient delivery. When your body is insulin resistant, even the best diet won't feed your muscles effectively. Leucine, the spark plug of muscle protein synthesis, is absolutely essential. And most older adults simply aren't getting enough per meal to trigger muscle growth. The one food that delivers the highest quality leucine plus B vitamins, iron, and metabolic coactors is grass-fed beef liver. Just 3 to 4 ounces once or twice a week and transform your strength. Timing matters. Protein consumed in the first meal of the day, ideally 30 plus gram with 2.5 plus grams of leucine, sends a powerful anabolic signal. Spread your protein intake across 2 to 3 meals. Avoid grazing and give your body clear recovery windows. And finally, muscle is metabolic gold. It burns fat, lowers blood sugar, extends lifespan, protects your brain. It is your greatest asset as you age, and rebuilding it is the most powerful anti-aging tool you have. Here's a simple challenge to get started this week. Eat 3 to 4 oz of grass-fed liver at least once. Start your day with a protein-rich breakfast, 30 grams minimum. Walk for 10 minutes after meals, especially lunch or dinner. And stop eating 2 to 3 hours before bed to let your hormones reset. Track how you feel, not just your strength, but your energy, your clarity, even your sleep. Because when your muscles are being fed correctly, your whole body shifts. And remember this, it's never too late. Muscle is responsive. Even at 70, 75 or beyond, your body is still listening. You just need to speak the right language with the right food at the right time, supported by metabolic habits that align with your biology. If this added value to your life, consider subscribing. I post content like this every day to help you optimize your health naturally without gimmicks or prescriptions. And if you know someone who's been told they're just getting old, send them this video. Let's help more people rewrite that story, starting with one bite of real food and one simple step towards strength. Until next time, stay strong, stay curious, and stay metabolically conclusion. Reversing age-related muscle loss is not about luck or genetics, it's about strategy. By understanding anabolic resistance, optimizing insulin sensitivity, and using targeted protein timing and sources like grass-fed beef liver, you can regain strength, protect your metabolism, and feel vibrant at any age. Start small, be consistent, and trust the science. Your body is still listening. If this helped you, share it with someone who deserves to feel strong again.